Are you a third, fourth, or fifth grade teacher and teaching reading has you completely stressed out? You're not sure how to get to all your reading groups, and the demands of what you're supposed to be teaching versus what's best for kids has a heavy burden that's been placed on you. And you're not alone. I felt that too, especially last year when I switched from first grade to fifth grade. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about how you can plan your literacy instruction using the Daily Five method if you are a third, fourth, or fifth grade teacher. If you saw my last week's video, you'll notice that it's very similar to this one, except I talked about kindergarten, first, and second grade. I'm in a unique position where I've taught K1 and now I'm in fifth grade, so I've seen kind of the span of what Daily Five can look like from our youngest to our oldest kids. And I want this video to just reassure you and give you some ideas for your literacy instruction for this coming fall, or whenever you're watching this, know that you can implement the Daily Five at any time. The first tip I'm going to give you is to get the Daily Five book. I'm a huge fan of their system and I follow it very closely. I've just tweaked it along the way to make my students a little bit more independent, even though that's the biggest tenet of the Daily Five is creating independent learners, as well as I've tweaked some of the systems and processes. And I'm going to share some of those with you today. But in my upcoming live workshop, if you're watching this in real time, it's this Saturday, July 15th. I have a K through 2 and a 3 through 5 workshop, and you can sign up in the link below. And I'm going to go into much more depth than I do here on how to set up Daily Five in your classroom so that you can get to all your reading groups without the stress and the headache and have your students love Daily Five. My fifth graders last year told me it was their favorite part of the day. Okay, the first thing after recommending getting the book, which by the way, I'm going to be giving away a copy of the book for free to anybody that comes live to each workshop. So if you're wanting the book and a great workshop, sign up. But the first thing I always introduce first to my students is read to self, because it's the easiest one as far as starting something independent. Even kindergartners can hold a book, like I mentioned in the other video, and they know how to get started. But by fifth grade, third, fourth, and fifth grade, they've had read to self. Whether you called it read to self or not, or they've been in another classroom that did some kind of silent reading, it's the same thing. So they build their stamina the whole 15 minutes till they get to that mark using a stamina building chart. And once we achieve that goal, then we can move on to the next station. Again, I like read to self first because it's something that they can do and they can be successful at right off the gate, even if they're just pretending to read. But again, third, fourth, fifth graders are going to have a lot more reading skills by that point. And one interesting difference I found from moving from lower to upper grades is my students achieved their 15-minute stamina right away. Now, my class last year was pretty amazing, and they got their 15 minutes of stamina the first day, which I was shocked, but excited at the same time. You could always practice the stamina a few more times if you feel like they need more practice. That's why I like the stamina building graph, because you can graph along the way. I'll leave a link for that in the description box below if you'd like to start printing your own chart and having that ready every year. Next, I move on to work on writing. Again, something third, fourth, and fifth graders can do independently. We have to model that for them though and show what it looks like. And my Daily Five writing time, it's not my regular writing instruction. So I view this as a creative writing time. And I eventually learned, especially when switching to fifth grade, that they needed writing prompts. And not all kids are going to want that. Some kids are going to want the freedom to write whatever they want. Most of my kids, though, really liked having 3 different options. And I put those up on the smart board for them. And I started making them every month consistently. So now I have them inside of my Teachers Pay Teacher store, and you can buy every single month. So you have the whole year planned out, which was really nice for me, just knowing that they could be on the smart board and between switching choices, the kids would know what they're going to write about. If they also like the writing paper with the prompt at the top, they come with that as well. My students use a notebook, but some of them prefer the writing paper with the prompt so they don't have to remember it or copy it from the board. So work on writing next. You're going to build that stamina. And when you get to the 15-minute mark, you can move on to the next one. You can also do the stamina chart for every single station I'm going to tell you about. And I have those all available inside of my TPT store. Okay, next, listen to reading. I put this one next, especially for upper grades, because it's something they're all going to be successful with and they like it. So the way you can monitor listen to reading, if you're worried about iPads, is have Apple Classroom pulled up on your teacher iPad. Then you can see what they're on, and then you can have a strict rule with it. If you go to a site that you're not allowed to go to, then you will get your iPad taken away for a week. I found that to be really effective in 5th grade. I've only had to follow through on that a couple times because they really did not want to lose their listen to reading privilege, and I view it completely as a privilege. All right, next, book club. This one's not going to have a stamina chart, but certainly when they come to your table, you're going to want to go over expectations, and they should have their materials, whatever it is they need to bring to book club with you. For me, it's always a book tub, a pencil, their notebook, and the book they're reading, all inside their book tub. They should be ready to go. If they have a folder for book club as well, bring that. If we're wasting time, them going back and forth to get something, then that's where we're going to have to review the expectations and be pretty strict about them, because learning time is really precious. And we know, especially in the upper grades, we have so many standards to fit in. We don't have time to be messing around. Daily 5 truly is a great way to incorporate all of these things, but the kids have to know that they have to have their materials ready for book club. So that's when you'll pull them back to your table while your other students are working independently on all these other tasks that we're talking about. And last, I'll talk about, I skipped word work. How could I can't believe I forgot word work. Okay, word work is another one. This one can tie into your reading curriculum. I started doing that this year. My district started a push towards including what we're doing in our tier 1 instruction, word work, in the curriculum. So I started implementing that into Daily 5. So if you're doing benchmark, let me know, because I have a chart that I made for that. But it can work with any type of word work program. That's one that's going to be different in grade level. So 3rd, 4th, and 5th will have similar things, but they're going to be different based on what the kids are working on. This is one that you do have to switch out more, but if you have a solid routine in place and it does tie into your reading curriculum, then it works out really well, because you'll have new activities every week. The same routine in place, that's been key for me. So, Monday, the same thing happens, but you might have a new word sort. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and so on. There's an activity planned. You can kind of see the outline of that inside of my TPT store for the different word work posters I have. And feel free to make your own anchor charts based on what your students need. I find that just having that in place, so on Wednesdays, they can't say, well, what do we do for word work today? Because it's on the chart. Okay, so word work, I do that after work on writing. I got the order mixed up a little bit. So it goes read to self, work on writing, word work, then listen to reading, book club, and last but not least, read to friend. I mentioned in my K-2 video that I stopped doing read to friend a few years back. I just found it to be a little chaotic. A lot of kids, even though you go over the expectations, some of them aren't ready for that step, especially the little guys. 5th graders could maybe handle it. I personally, though, didn't want to deal with read to friend last year. Maybe I'll bring it back in. I don't know. I think Daily 5 calls it read to someone. It's the same thing. You can build the stamina for it. You can do the chart. When I first started teaching, I did it for the first 4 years, and that was with my kindergarten 1st grade split class, and it worked really well. So it's just kind of up to you as the teacher if you want an extra choice. If there are kids that can't handle it, then they don't get to do it. It's just simple like that. So it's up to you. So make Daily 5 customizable to the learners that you have in your classroom. I think that's what I really want to emphasize, is that it is the structure of your literacy block, not the instruction. And again, my workshop is coming up here live on July 15th. And if you are catching this in real time, then sign up on the link below. If you're watching it later, that's okay. The same link will take you to watch the replay. So you can grab that and get all of the great tips to set up Daily 5 in your literacy block before the school year, and you'll know what you're doing every step of the way. And I've customized it so it's taken all the guesswork out for you. If this video was helpful, share it with a 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade teacher friend who's looking to start the Daily 5 or change up their literacy block and have a stress-free time in their classroom this year. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.